Salman, I think we can start. So before you take this over, I would like to thank you everyone for joining, especially in the Friday evening for India and other countries as well. So thank you for joining each and every time whenever we schedule this call. I'm sure this will be the fantastic session as you expected. And this session is a series of session, which is a second series of project management accounting. If you have not watched the first session of the project management accounting, you can go to the YouTube channel where we have published the video. And this will be the second session where we have published the agenda. And Salman will take us through the project management accounting concept. So yeah, without further delay, I would like to hand it over to Salman. Salman, over to you. You can take this over.
Yeah, thank you, Ramit. Thank you everyone for joining. So hopefully we will to conduct this session is just to share knowledge with the community and to get to know each other. Okay, so let's start with our today's agenda. So basically, we in the last session we have discussed regarding the key concepts like before starting with the project management accounting, what you need to know, like what is available in the project module and what are the key functionalities about that. So today we will do some basic configurations and we will try to post some transactions and we will see how we can apply different controls and what are the actual controls available in project management accounting module and how they are different from each other. Okay, so let me just start my screen. Please let me know when you are able to see that. So can you see that?
Yes, again.
Yes. Okay, so this is today's agenda. We are going to discuss about how we can create the project. So basically, to create a project, what setup we actually need apart from the posting part, like to post the financial transactions, what are the other setups required? So we have discussed all the setups required already, but that what are the main setups? We will do that and we will create one project today. And after that, we will discuss the transaction types, like how many transaction types are there in D365 and how they differ from each other once and how we link up the transaction types with the project categories and actually from which base system takes the posting profiles. And then we will see the application of the work breakdown structure. So basically work breakdown structure is very important in project management accounting or even in project management itself. So we have detailed scheduling and the cost estimates in PMA module in the 365. And last but not the least, we will discuss about the line properties. So basically, line properties are the key things that are helpful once we are talk about the invoicing to the customer. So basically, to invoice to the customer, we have two projects that are time and material and fixed price. So what is the application of the line properties and how we can use them effectively? Okay, so basically, these are the prerequisites that are required to create a project. First, we need to like create project categories. And once we are done with the project categories, we need to start with the project groups. So basically, these project categories are used to post the transactions. And then what are the actually project groups are? So basically, project groups define two things. First is what is going to be the project type. Within one project type we have we can set up the different ledger. You can say that behavior of the transaction, either this is going to be our VIP accounts or our direct we are going to post into our cost accounts. So regarding that we will see these part into the next sessions, but keeping it simple, we can note that project groups are used to define the project types. And then the line properties, obviously once we will create the project we need to post the transactions. So for that we need to assign the line property, either this is going to be the chargeable or non-chargeable activity, so we will see that part. And then this is the calendar and period types. So basically calendar and period types are used at two places. One is to post the timesheets and our journals, and the other one application is to recognize the revenue. So once we speak about specifically regarding the fixed price and investment project. So we need to post the revenue recognition. So for that, we need period types. Either it can be weekly, monthly, or bi-monthly. So for that, we need period types and calendars. So let's jump into the D365 and we will create one project group and we will create one project. Okay, so this is a demo environment and I'm using this legal entity, USSI Contoso. I think this is Contoso service in Australia, Contoso Consulting Australia. So to practice the project management default setups, you can use this legal entity into your trial environment or UAT environment. So let's go to the project management complete module. So here under the setup, we have this posting, and first we will define one project group. So I will define it for the time and material project, and I will keep ledger set up to the profit and loss accounting. So let's say project group, I am keeping this project group. Okay, and I will save that. So basically I have, you can see here, I have different project groups for time and material projects. So which one I want to use that. So once I will create project, so I will have an option to choose the functionality, like which project group I want to use. Just like once we create the customer master data or the vendor master data. So in that case, we can define either this customer is my domestic or foreign customer. So similar way, once we will create master for the project itself, so we'll be having an option to select or attach the project group. So let's see that. What I will do, I will go to the project, solve projects, and I will create new project. So based on the project type, I am going to select the time and material. So here under the project group, this is the group that we have created. And apart from that, we can see other project groups that are available. So by default, system will filter that time and material. So if I will assign this fixed price project, so that doesn't make any sense. So I will use this time and material project. So let me give, okay. So as time and material is our external project, so we need to bill to the customer. Once we need to bill to the customer, obviously we need to attach one customer for that. So for that, what we will do, we will create one project contract that will be attached with time and material. So I will select my funding source. So let's say I want to use this customer. So based on that contract ID, system will fetch this customer ID. Right? And if you have some project manager, you can attach that project manager. And here we will select the starting date, like at on which date this project is going to start. Okay, so once we will create this project, so first we can identify here the project stage will be created. So these are the default stages that are defined with the system, but we can define more 2 or 3 stages into the project parameters. So we will discuss that in later session. But once the project stage will be created, the next part is to create the WBS and all that. So let's see what other things we need to see. So that's how we can simply create the project with some basic configurations. So once the project is created, we need to know that what are the transaction types or the options we have, or what actually the transactions we can post onto the project. So apart from the sales orders and purchase orders that we can create to the project, we have these transaction types. So basically, this is how transaction types are linked with the categories and category groups. So let's say we have one transaction type as an expense, right? So in expense, we can have different kinds of expenses, like it can be transport expenses and it can be accommodation expenses. So in accommodation, we can further have different categorization. It can be, we can segregate relevant to the hotel straightforward expenses, or it can be relevant to the food expenses. So in similar way, let's say as an employee, I am traveling to one customer, right? And my employ the project team is going to post the expense transactions relevant to that project. So either I can go by train, by taxi, or it can be by air. So in that case, in transport, we can create different categories. So if we summarize that at top level, what we can say that we define category groups relevant to each expense type. Like see here we have the transport type expenses. So we will keep the transaction type expense, and in the category group, we will say that this is expense transactions relevant to the transport expenses. And further, once we will be creating the categories, we will have different categories regarding taxi, train, and by air. So with that category, we will attach that specific group relevant to the expense transaction. So that's the hierarchy, how we can create the transaction type. So apart from the expense transaction, so total we have four transaction type in project management accounting module. One is expense. That could be a simple expense transaction regarding the employee expenses like travel expenses or something, food expense reimbursement. But apart from that, from here, we can also generate the vendor invoices directly. So just like as an offset account, we can select the vendor. So system will ask that you need to provide an invoice number for that transaction. So we can select vendor invoice from expense channel. We can directly post that. Apart from that, we have these three more categories. One is R transaction type. So basically, these R transactions are used to post the employee related cost, or we can simply say that use the to post the transactions using the timesheets or hourly journals. So let's say I am an engineer, so I have been working on to one project. So obviously, I am consuming my time. Basically, I am as an employee, I have to post the cost onto the project. So what I will be doing simply, I will be posting the R journals either from the R journal itself or from the timesheets. So simply R transactions are used to post the employee related cost. And then we could have transaction type as an item. So item, it can be posted in three ways. One is using the sales order that we can create only for the time and material project specifically. And other two ways is simply just like our journal, we can create one item journal. So what we will do, we will consume the item onto the project. Apart from that, if it is some fixed price project and we need to deliver the item to the customer, so in that case, we can also create the item requirements. So that's the three ways to consume the item onto the project itself. And then we have this transaction type as fee. So basically, this is something, these transaction types don't have any cost associated to them first. Okay, and after that, this is we use on particularly onto the time and material projects. So on top of like whatever we will agree with the customer, like whatever the transaction for our item and expense we will post, we will bill to the customer. Apart from that, on top of that, we can include some fee regarding some, like let's say if some employees working extra hours. So for that, we can use the fee journals. And if there are some also employee relevant cost that we need to reimburse from the customer side. So in that case, we can also post the fee journal on top of all other transactions. So let's see on to this project. So first, what we can do, we can change the project stage to estimate it if we want to create the WBS or forecast. If there are something relevant to that, but keeping it simple, what I will do, I will change the project stage to in process. Right. So once I will change the project stage to in process, I will go to the R journal. So from here, I can simply go to the lines. I will create new. So here we can also specify the resource, like which resource is posting the transaction for this one. So that's how we can post the R journal, and this will be for the employee relevant cost, specifically for payroll entries. So we will discuss further in next sessions how the payroll is either payroll is linked or not with the project management accounting module directly. If it is not, how the cost is allocated at project level from the employee cost. So apart from that, we got these expense and item journals. So we can see also this expense journal in similar other transactions or journals. We can go to these lines and we can select the category just like we have discussed already. Let's go to another tab. I will show you that. So basically, I have created this category group as a travel and the transaction type it an expense. So what further I have segregated, if we go to the project categories, so we have these multiple categories. So if we see that here I have the travel. Okay, here I have that taxi. So it's associated with the category group as travel. And within that, if we can also create another category and we can use the same group. So on the top level, just like in the customer or vendor master data, even in the item master data, we could have one item group and we can assign that to the with multiple products. So in the similar way, we can create a top one category group and we can assign it with the different product category. And on top of that, we can set up the posting profiles within that group. So whatever, let's say we can create one account with the travel expenses and we can assign that with the category group. So whatever the categories we will have here, like taxi by train or by air, so system will automatically, based on the combination, will get the main account from here. Okay, so we will try to post the transactions, but before that, let's jump into the other part. So basically, in the other control, or once we will create the project, the next thing is before posting the transaction, we need to define the work breakdown structure. So actually what work breakdown structure is, so it's scheduling, or we can say that list of activities or tasks that we are going to perform on to that project. Okay, so there are a couple of ways to define the WBS. One is we can, if there is some integration with project operations module, so we can also integrate that PMA module with project operations, and we can sync the WBS from PMA, sorry, project operations to PMA module. Other one is we can also create some templates and we can store that and we can import those templates. Okay, so then on top of that, let's see, this is an example of a list of activities that we are going to perform onto that project. So first we have this receive notice to proceed and sign contract with the customer. And we have this similar project category belongs to this activity. And with all these tasks that we are going to perform, we have this same list of activities, right? But let's say if we speak about the submit bond and insurance document, here we it might be possible that we could have 5 hours allocated to for this category for this activity. But for this activity, it might be possible that we could have 10 hours, right? But the project category we have same. On top of that, we could have defined the same cost for all these categories. So how system will validate that against which activity we are posting that transaction. So for that, in project management accounting setup, we have this require activity menu item. From here, we can enable the activity for all the required transactions for which we want to enable that. So whenever we will be posting some journal, let's say this is an example of our hourly based journals. So see what system will do. System will upon saving the line, system will ask that the activity number is missing. The project that is associated with the sort transaction require you to enter an activity number. So basically, this is also the activity based. You can say that not you. We can also say that costing or job posting onto the project level at project level. So that's how we can control the work breakdown structure at activity level. So let's see what are the setups required to do that. So first, if we move to the project management accounting module, we have this setup. Under the setup, we have project management accounting parameters. So I will go to the project management accounting parameters. So here under the journals, we can enable that require activity. So first, what we have that whenever we will be posting the R transactions, we need to assign the activity against which we are posting those R journals. And in similar way for expense item, we also have these required activity. But as we already discussed that for fee transactions, we don't have any cost associated with that. So it's very understood that if we don't have any cost associated, so we don't require any activity to post transaction for those transact for journals or fee transactions. So, okay, so here we also have a log parent activity selection. So let me just open some WBS. So here under the setup, we have this project menu item. We can also predefine this work breakdown structure templates, or either defining one kind of WBS, we can also save that. So let's say we have one project. Uh, let's say we have one customer that buy us from D365. Let's keep it very simple. We have D365 standard implementation. So as we know that the standard implementation, every time it will have the same scope. So what it will do, it will have the same scope for the work. So scope of work will remain same. So uh, let's say we have customer one, customer two, and customer three. So instead of creating one by one all the time WBS for all these projects, it's better that we could have create this template. So whenever we will create the project, we will simply import that template on top of that WBS structure. And if there are some modifications required, we can do that regarding in terms of cost, or in terms of some, let's say we have within the standard, we code some integrations also. So we can all add that part. So let's see, these are the templates that are already there. So there is one way, either we can create from here new, we can give some template name, let's say D365 standard, and we can give some description regarding that. And here we can make it active, either it is active or not. Okay, so from here, by clicking new, we can define the task. Let's say first we will have FRD, and within that we can assign the category relevant to that. So this is relevant to the project management or whatever. But here is one thing, during the scheduling view, what we can do, we can only select only the transaction type that has we can select only categories that have transaction type as an R, because here we are scheduling actually what number of hours we are going to consume at this activity. Okay, so let's keep it. And in FRD, further, if we want to link up some like let's from here indent, what we can do, we can link up some subtask with that. Like let's say for FRD, what we could have finance meetings or whatever the generic structure your organization is following. And after that, what we will have, we have SCM and all that. And then what we will do, we will submit the FRD to the client. And here we can identify the efforts that is required. Let's say it will require 20 working hours. And the number of resources, which resources are required? We require two resources, right? So here we can also attach the role ID if we want to do some scheduling or scheduling that is automatic based on the role ID. What we can do, we can assign the role ID also, like if we can select the business analyst or the functional consultant here. Right. So that's the way how we can define the templates. But on top of that, we got option also to that project. Okay, so this is the project that I have created. Let's go to the WBS. So from here, I can either create new in the similar way, let's say FRD, and I can create new. And this is the indent that is used to create a subtask onto the parent task. And within that, we have this predecessors. So let's say we have this here, finance. And after that, we need to create SCM. So if we know that this SCM activity will be starting after this finance activity, so what we can do, we can attach the task that is predecessor of this one. So that's how we can effectively schedule and plan for from the WBS. And then we got some couple of options like if we want to attach something at the WBS level, so we can do that. Number of resources required, so we can also do that, and role ID and which resources are required. Like if there is some a resource, specifically one resource, we can attach that. But that is relevant to the scheduling part. But on top of that, if we go to this detail option, so here we got some other couple of options. So let's forget about this scheduling option. But here we have this task category that is used to apply some controls on our categories. Let's say I have selected this transaction type as an R transaction. So basically, I have got many categories that I can use and I can post the relevant Rs. No doubt, if we will have the budget control, so system will validate that on top of that category. But let's say if there is no budget control, system is not giving us any warning that this transaction will increase the uh, budget amount with this amount with this cost. But apart from that, let's say I strictly want that for this transaction or for this activity, only this activity category can be selected. So from here, what I can do, I can restrict that activity category. So let's see that. So for this line, I have restricted that only this category can be selected, right? But let's say for this one, I don't want to restrict that the user can post within the relevant category. So because I have defaulted this category from the project accounting parameters. So let's see what once we will done with the WBS, what we need to do, we need to publish it. But before that, apart from the scheduling, we also have the cost estimates. So here, if I click on expand all, so from here, let's say this is the finance task relevant to the finance requirement gathering. We also need some travel. So our employee that he will be traveling to the client side. So what we can do, we can select the transaction type as an expense, and we can also assign the project like category which it belongs to. Either this is travel expense or something if we require some third party for some services, or if we need some license requirement. Like let's say if we are going to do some integrations, and to perform that integration we need to validate the API and we need to buy the REST API licenses, or it can be anything. So in that case, we can also assign that relevant category here, right? And here what we can do, we can assign some unit cost price that is required for this category. So basically, this cost is not going to be automatically going onto the transaction once we will be posting the transactions actually onto the project module. But how it helps us actually, what we can do, we can use this WBS as a starting point to forecast for the project and also to create the budget for project. So directly from this WBS, we can create budget. So that's another thing. We will discuss that. But keeping it simple, what I will do, I will publish this WBS. So now what I will do, I will go to the project journals and I will try to post transactions. So I will try to post some R transactions. Okay, so I will select that project. Transactions. So let's create one new. Okay, so first I will say that I want to post 1 hour, right? Once I will click save, system will ask me that to post transaction for this project category that is associated with that, you need to select the activity number. So from activity, what we have WBS activities that we have created. So let's say for finance, so I can select that. So on WBS, I have selected this category. Okay, all right. So what I will do, I will try to select some other category. See here, system is validating that you cannot change the category because it is set to mandatory on the activity. So basically, for this activity, I have already set up this category to be mandatory. So that's how we can, at the first level, we can apply control that to post the transaction, imply need to specify on which task or on which activity he's working. Okay, that's fine. And after that, we can also restrict that he cannot change the category that is already defined from the project team, because all these WBS and scheduling will be happening from the project management office. This all these transactions, these will be happening from the employees and the finance team. So that's how the once the employee or the resources will be changing from department to department, or you can say that uh, expertise wise. So we need to restrict that. Okay, so within that, I will create a similar transaction for other activity for SCM. So let's say I want to post 5 hours. So here I can select any other category. See here system is not validating that. So that's why we need to put the control, because I am doing some tasks relevant to the SCM categories. So it's not like that. I don't have some associated expenses, or let's say for hours that is required for that activity. So if I will post that, so in that case, my project budget, it can be like overstated. So in that case, that's how we can apply the controls. Okay, so that's how we can effectively manage the WBS and we can put some controls. So the next part is how we can use the templates that we have already defined into the system. So let's quickly create another project, and we will use that also for the line properties, and we will see the application of line properties. So I'm giving its the name, just keeping it simple. Okay, so I will use this project to show you how we can use the line properties and the WBS. We can import the WBS that we already have the template. So again, here from the plan tab, what we can do, we can go to the WBS, and from here, uh, what we can do, so we have these import and export option. So let's say if we have something that we have created specifically for the project that we already discussed, that it could be for the 365 standard implementation. So we have first client, and we have created all the list of activities or the tasks that we are going to perform for that specific implementation. So in that case, what we can do, we can simply export that, and we can give it a name, like let's say D365 uh, standard. So we can give some description if it is required, and we can save that. So what actually system will do, system will save that template where we have already seen that, where we can also create the template directly. But what if we want to use that template onto the WBS on top of the project? So what we can do from here, import. So here we can select that template just like we exported that. So all the active templates will be available here. So let's say we have this one already created into the system. So I will use this one, and I will click OK. So here system is asking that do you also want to we either we also want to transfer the rate card, like whatever the cost or sale price is there. So do we need to apply here also? So if it is required that, like for every client we could have different rate cards or cost. So or for every project we could have different budget based on the timeline and all other parameters. So all other specifications. So if we want to transfer that, we can click on yes. Otherwise, we can click on no. So let's keep it to yes. So what system will do? It will get all the activities or the tasks that are there. Will copy here. So that's see here, this is a good example to understand the indent option. See here, we have development phase. So in development phase, what we need these dev. First, it might could be possible that first we could have 5 developers. So based on the activities, these developers will work. First, dev one will work, and then dev two, or it might be possible that all the developers are working at the same time. And after that, we need the quality assurance. And here in the quality assurance, we could have different linked subtasks. Like first, it will be Q&A one, and then Q&A two, three, four, and so on. So that's how we can schedule that. And after that, if we go to the cost estimates, so here we can see that see here, we need the project management. Okay, for that, might be possible that project manager is traveling, and it's linked to the flight category. So, and if it is traveling, then obviously he will eat something. So company will reimburse him. So we need to post that cost onto the project. So at the end, we could know that how much we have earned from that project from the customer, and what was the cost, and we can get some gross profit based on the all profit statement. So that's how we can for different scheduling options, sorry, for different planning task, we can create different transaction types from here cost estimates, right? So let's That's how we can define the WBS. So I will just delete this one. Okay. So now let's move to the line properties. Okay. So basically, what are the line properties? We could have four projects that could be affected from the line properties. First, the straightforward is time and material. Sorry, not four. We could have three projects. Time and material. So based on the line property, first we have already discussed that in time and material. Actually, what happens? So let's say this is a time and material project. On top of that, let's keep it simple. So we have this time and material project. So we don't know how much cost we are going to incur on that project, or what are the actual efforts that we require. That the very simple example is, let's say this is a sport contract. So we don't have some fixed contract. What we have all the number of hours that the consultant will consume. We will charge for that, or we will raise an invoice for that contract for those transactions. So let's say we have posted some 10 hours. Okay, and 10 hours. What we are 10 20 USD. We are posting the cost, and 30 USD is our sales price. So what system actually will do for these post transactions, system will create an invoice for 10 hours for these 30 based on the this per unit price, right? But it might be possible that on top of that, these 10 hours, let's say I am a consultant, I was on holiday, right? But that client requested that we require that consultant, and we will pay some extra, or apart from the holiday, it could be some overtime. Okay, so in after the working hours, whatever the work we will do, we will charge 10% on top of this $20. Regarding the cost, we will post like employee will charge 10% for extra. You can say that overtime. So if we are paying to the employee, then in that case, we also need to record that onto the project cost. So that's that these things we can set up onto the line properties, and later on we can also utilize onto the project. Apart from that, let's say I am traveling on client. Okay, so if I will go for the go live activities, so as per the contract, client or the customer will pay for that, right? But if it is some sport activities, that my company is getting paid from the client for the sport. Like let's say they have outsourced me from my company, that give us this consultant, we will pay you 20,000 USD, INR, as pounds or whatever that. So in that case, for those costs, we are not going to charge to the customer, because for that traveling, company will be bearing the expense itself. So this what will be happening? This will be my chargeable activity, chargeable, that I will bill to the customer, but this will be my non-chargeable activity. So I cannot, so I will not, actually I will record the cost, but against those transactions, I will not bill to the customer. So that's these all parts. How we can handle all these scenarios. For that we require the line properties. So basically, just like we discussed that if on top of the sale price or cost price, if we require something to add additional some percentages, just like let's take a similar example from the finance. So let's say if we are posting some vendor transaction, vendor payments, so bank asks that on top of whatever the amount you will pay, I will charge 10%. If we keep it more simple, we use the credit card. So whatever the amount we will utilize, bank will charge us 10% or 5%. So in the similar way, there could be possible some transactions. For that, we will charge something additional to the customer, and obviously we will post the, if we are charging something additional, so matching with the revenue matching principle, so we will post the relevant cost also. This is relevant to the time and material project. But for the investment project and fixed price project, we also have specifically this capitalization option. So what actually happens, let's say we have posted 100 hours onto some project. Our internal team has worked to let's say we have some project for asset maintenance, so our in-house team is working for that maintenance. So employee will be posting the working hours, but there could be possible that there is some downtime, there were no activity or there were no productivity. So as per the IS 16, we cannot allocate all the costs. There are some limitations, or there are some like specific cost that we can allocate to the asset. So in that case, what we can do, we can post that transaction without capitalization, so it will be directly expensed out. It will not be recognized into the fixed asset cost. Okay, so that these are the key we can see that functions of the line properties. So this is the same example. Let's say we have three transactions that imply posting regarding the R transaction. So first will be billable, that will be the chargeable activity. And other one, if it is something that we internally we are just recording the cost, that is not chargeable to the customer. So in that case, the activity will remain to the non-billable. If it is a fixed price project, by default, either even if we post it with the billable, system will keep it to the non-billable, because in fixed price we bill for the contract based or the fixed amount. So there could be this over time, like how the actually the calculation works. Let's say we have 100 per hour. So if we will post 1 hour using this line property over time, and it will multiply with the percentage, and it will calculate the cost. So let's see into the system. So to define the line properties, we can go to the project module, and here under this is this menu item is to define, just like we define the posting profiles or the main accounts based on the project groups or the category. Similar way, we can, this is for by defaulting that. Okay, but let's go to the line properties. So that I have already created for overtime. So what this is the standard one. So what actually will happen whenever I will post any transaction onto my time and material project? So system, what is the base amount that I have already defined for the cost, that will be posted in straightforward. But if I will, let's say after 5, my working hours are finished, but my manager requests me, okay, extra, if you will work extra 2 hours, you will be paid 10% additional for that, right? So what I can do, I can once I will be posting that my timesheet or R journals on top of the project, what I will do, I will select this category instead of that. So let's see how system calculates. So I will go to the same project. So first I will change the project stage to in process. I will go to R transaction. I will create new lines. So this is the category and activity. Okay, we don't have defined activities onto the WBS. Okay, let's go back to the other project. Or what we can do, we can define one activity for this project. Okay. So I will create that transaction. So now I can select that activity. So one more control. See here, this is my parent activity. So if I will try to select that one, so we have already restricted that parent activity selection is not allowed. So this is one other control that just like the we have the procurement categories at top, we could have let's say purchase expenses, and within that we could have like fixed asset category and other relevant to the direct charge items. So instead, we can also restrict the parent category. Okay. So first, I will select 1 hour and I will go to the journal tab, and here we have defined cost price that is already defined for this category into the price master data. But let me try to change this line property to with the overtime. So once I will change it with the overtime, I will try to save this one. So now we will see that system has automatically added 10% on top of that category. So that's how we can like allocate, or we can say that we can post the overtime cost or the extra cost for that specific categories using these line properties. So once I will post that, so system will record now this transaction, right? So now I will post one another journal with the, so I will use the same activity number, and the line property I will set it to the non-billable. But let's first verify that. So this is chargeable. If it is set to the no, so then this activity, oh sorry, this transaction will be no non-chargeable to the customer. So I will post 1 hour. So it's been posted. So there are two ways to verify that. What I can do, I can come here to the manage tab, post the transaction. So here I will be able to see that which transaction I need actually to bill to the customer. So here we can see that first what we posted. So system is one, we added some percentage on top of base amount, so that we can see that 220. But apart from that, see here the invoice status is non-chargeable. So this is for that a line property that we have selected, that this is not billable to the customer. So even if we will create the invoice proposal, so what system will do, it will consider only one transaction with the chargeable activity. See here, it's taking only the first one. Now that is the first transaction that we have posted. So that's for the uh, line properties, and that's for our today's agenda. So now if you have some questions, please go ahead. So we will be glad to answer for that. And if you want to see some specific scenarios you have, please give some feedback, so we will try that we can conclude, or we can include that into the upcoming sessions. So now it's over to you. Please, if you have any questions, go ahead.
I have one question.
Yes, Mr. Santosh, go ahead.
Yeah. See, in the WBS, you are defining some hours and the cost. Let's say for the
Yes.
expense, you are defining some cost. And if you are,
Okay.
raising a transaction for the expenses, okay, and if it is a, increasing, let's say you in the WBS, you are defined the 100 as the expenses, right? And when you
Okay.
are creating the transaction, you are entering a 120.
All right.
So you are saying it system is prompting that error message that you are, raising more amount for doing the transaction, right?
See, for that, what we have the budget control. See,
Okay.
actually, how it works. Let me make it very simple. See here, if I go to that project, so our WBS is pre-planned. So if I go to the project budget, so I got an option to import So what I can do, I can simply set up my source type as a WBS estimates. So whatever I will have, system will get those amounts here. So if I will try to exceed that, so system will give me warning that you are exceeding the budget. So on top of that, we have this budget and forecast. We have this budget overrun defaults. Allow overruns? No, disallow overruns. So that's works similar, just like uh, in the GL budgets. So system will not allow us to increase the amount. So from here under the control, we can also verify our project budget balances, like what we initially uh, estimated based on the transaction type, like we discussed the hours. Even we can specify it category wise, so it will give that whatever the category we have selected onto the WBS, if it is coming from the WBS, so it will give us the list of categories and what was the original, and if there are some approved or whatever what was the approved budget, and then if we have consumed something, so we will see on this report. We will cover this part in upcoming session, hopefully.
Okay. I was thinking maybe you are defining at the WBS and then you are doing transaction. It might restrict you. So that is why I have asked the question.
Yeah, that's understood. So, anyone else?
Okay, I think we are on time. We are giving 2 minutes back.
Yes. So, Ramit, what we can do so far, the upcoming sessions, we can get feedback from the users, like which topics they want to actually see or what scenarios. So, hopefully, that will be more beneficial. So, you
Yeah,
can think about that also.
sure, 100%. So, see, the project management accounting session has been very successful. We have seen around 800 people watch the videos in 1 month. So, I'd say people are getting benefited. Even if some people are not able to join, they are actually getting benefited after going through our video session. So that's fine. Yeah, and that is also a good idea that we will publish some poll or something, and based on that we will arrange a session on the project management accounting. I think that's fine.
Yeah, that's good. Great. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, guys. Thank you. I
Thank you,
really
everyone.
appreciate and admire that you have taken some time. Thank you. Have a good time. So take care. See you again. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Super.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.